Now, not many girls spend their childhood in the New York apartment block where Judy Garland, Rudolph Nureyev and John Lennon lived, had their home movies directed by a young Stephen Sondheim, or went to their first concert aged just 3, except that is when their father is Leonard Bernstein. Nina Bernstein Simmons is the youngest daughter of the legendary conductor and composer who gave us, amongst other things, On the Town and, of course, West Side Story. And Nina Bernstein Simmons joins me. Nina, Maria is, in fact, your middle name, and your sister.
It is, but that's less of a reference to West Side Story than it is Latin American convention. Our mother was Chilean. And so that's just the way girls are named in Chile.
Now, you're in the UK for a series of special concerts to commemorate your father's life. And last night at the Royal Northern College of Music, there was a performance of his music by the Symphony Orchestra of Cheetham School of Music in Manchester. Your father would have enjoyed that so much, wouldn't he? Because all the musicians under the age of 18,
they
Nina,
were extraordinary. I have not seen a bunch of kids that age be so professional, so focused. And they had a day. They had, it began with a rehearsal, and then there was a 3:00 children's concert that I narrated with a lot of tricky music and a lot of tricky cues, and then a short break, and then a full concert, 2-part concert.
That was your father's big passion in life, wasn't it? Encouraging young people into music.
Yeah. That's what he lived for. It seemed like all the rest of his activities were just paled in comparison to when he actually had the chance to teach young people about music. There was something, I think he never lost the childlikeness in himself. And so when he was face to face with young people, it just brought him entirely more to life. He really responded to the energy and curiosity and freshness of young people.
I mean, there was a whole famous series of children's concerts on CBS television that he did for years and years. But you were talking yesterday about how you get children involved in the rhythm, and you had a very good catchphrase involving hamburgers and hot dogs or something.
Yeah, well, it turns out that even the most complicated rhythms in music can be pretty well broken down and understood by breaking them down into these little rhythm packages of 2 and 3. Turns out choreographers use this handy little device, and so do conductors and soloists and any musician. And so you can name these little rhythm packages anything you want. You could say London and Manchester. You could say apples and oranges. But for the purposes of this children's concert yesterday, we use hamburger and hot dogs. So, for example, I Like to Be in America is simply a hamburger, hot dog, hamburger, hot dog, hot dog. And then you see, I see, it's just 2 hamburgers and 3 hot dogs, and it's not so difficult.
I don't know whether I prefer that to the Sondheim lyrics or not, Nina. You were only 3 when you went to your first concert. Can you remember it?
All I remember is being absolutely wowed by the number of people and the excitement and the flailing around of that dad of mine on the podium, who was just, on fire. I mean, he was just flying. And I think I was trying to imitate him, and one of the cameramen got rid of me. I was too distracting.
Your father obviously had to spend long periods of time away in his professional life. He was very much in the public eye, conducting in front of adoring audiences. Then he'd come home to what must have been a much quieter life. Was that a difficult transition for him and for you as a family to?
It was difficult for him, and it fell to us, especially later on after our mother was gone, to help him make that transition more smoothly, because he was no longer surrounded by adoring fans, and it was just us. But we had to make him feel safe in the transition. So there were a lot of games and a lot of dinner parties, and it had to still be fun. And of course, it was very easy for it to be fun because our friends were so terrific and delicious, great people.
Did you realise that this was a very different life, or was it just normal for you?
It was normal for me, but then when I would visit other families and friends and their parents, I would say, I see, we're were considerably louder than other people.
Now, you mentioned your mother, Felicia. Now, your mother and father were married for a long time. What was she like? How important was her influence on your father? I believe she used to save him from some of his worst gaffes.
Yeah, you could say she was the brick to his balloon. She was an absolutely anchoring fixture. She would advise him, for instance, on his sartorial selections. He wasn't so visually inclined, and he would be, sometimes he would pair impossible trousers with impossible ties, and she would say, no, you're not going out in that, and this is what you're going to wear, and so forth. And yes, he was prone to some spectacular gaffes, and she would be there to smooth it over, kicking him underneath the table if need be. But then, of course, he would more often than not say, "Why are you kicking me?"
Now, you've talked about your father's personal demons that he had to fight. Now, he had relationships with both men and women, and at one point left the family to live with his male lover. But when your mother was very ill, at that crucial moment, he came back and he cared for her until she died.
But he loved her desperately. I mean, people should not get the impression that he tired of her. It wasn't that. He absolutely adored her. He was devoted, and when she got sick, absolutely, he came back.
And you were just about 16 at the time, Nina?
I was 16 when she died.
So afterwards, how did you keep your dad up?
He fell into a very, very deep depression. It was a sad, sad thing for us to see. And I remember we all went on family holiday at Christmas, which was about 6 months after she had died, in the hopes that maybe we could jolly him out of this depression. And we were in Jamaica, and we had just had dinner, and we all went down to the hotel bar. And then there was a piano there, and maybe just a couple of other people hanging out at the bar. And he went over to the piano and sat down and just spontaneously started playing Rhapsody in Blue in the most profound, divine way. I mean, you would not imagine this performance, and it just floored us, as well as the people sitting at the bar. But we knew from that moment he was going to be okay. And the music brought him back.
And just briefly, Nina, because unfortunately we're running out of time, but in his 90th year, how would you want him to be remembered?
Oh, as a humanist, primarily as a humanist. I mean, the music for him was a way to reach people. He was fond of saying that he loved two things chiefly, music and people. He didn't know which one he loved better. And he made music so that he could be with people, and he loved the world.
Well, you can, if you're lucky enough to be in London near the Cadogan Hall tonight, there is another concert at 7:30 tonight.
They play like angels, those kids. They're marvellous.
Nina Bernstein-Simmons, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.